Hello and welcome to Short Focus Film Festival 2025 Q&A sessions. This is an opportunity for us to speak to some of the filmmakers who make up part of our festival. Today, I am lucky to be joined by Seth Barnard Chodzko, who's the director for Now That You're Back. Good evening, Seth. How are you?
Good evening. I'm very good. Sorry to meet you in my car here.
No problem at all. It looks like you're just coming away from work or a job.
Yeah. Just coming away from work. Just stepped off set about 5 minutes ago. So yeah, but yeah, really happy to be here.
Yeah, great to have you. Thank you so much for making the time. I just wanted to jump straight in really, and for anyone that is about to watch your film for the first time, could you just give us a brief description of your film?
Sure, yeah. So the film follows two friends who are reunited. They're estranged friends, and they're reunited after a childhood friend has tragically taken his own life, and these two friends are reunited by the task of choosing his burial clothes. So yeah, through this they kind of find a reconnection. Yeah, I guess just thinking about the themes and stuff, it kind of explores masculinity and men's mental health, but also mental health as a whole, and kind of exploring why men are I think it's 2.9 times more likely to die by suicide than females.
What was it that kind of compelled you then to make a film about that particular subject matter?
I think I've always really been interested in exploring masculinity, and I mean, some of my favorite films have always been coming of age films, and I think growing up, I grew up in quite a masculine atmosphere, and I think growing up, so I'm like mid-20s now, coming out of that, I've been quite reflective of kind of that period of your life where you perhaps you haven't quite found your own voice yet, and you're kind of following the crowd, and I guess it's kind of a reflection on that and thinking about how my masculinity ties into those sort of things. And then suicide as well, although not directly, it's always been a pretty consistent thing in my life, an event in my life, and therefore I've always kind of thought about the culture of suicide, and yeah, so I think it's always been something that's been quite important to me, and something that I've wanted to address, and yeah, I think that's it. That's kind of what compelled me to make the story. The initial idea randomly just came about because I went to uni in Leeds. I was driving through the Peak District, and for some reason the rolling hills was the kind of the seed of the idea, was while I was driving through those. So I don't know what it was, not to sound corny, but like the vastness of the hills or something. Kind of that's where the idea spawned. So yeah.
When we meet one of the main characters at the beginning of the film, Connor, there's this kind of bravado, a lot of talk about fighting, of toughness. It's only later we realize there is something maybe more fragile beneath that. How did you want audiences to experience that tension?
I wanted the audience to initially see him, and also Reese, the guy he has the fight with at the beginning, as like sort of tough, giving off tough facades, but quite quickly we kind of, especially with Connor, we learned that that it is a facade, and that he's actually struggling a lot more than the people around him, like Liam, who's much more open about his feelings and stuff. So yeah, definitely the idea was to start with a very macho, tough impression, and then as it goes on, the story develops, we see that that is kind of the show, and that he's struggling.
Yeah, you actually perfectly set up my next question, really. But the other character, Liam, definitely brings a different energy to proceedings. He is more reflective, perhaps more aware, although still not able to fully be open, perhaps because of the way that his other friends, behave. But how did you see that contrast between Connor and Liam as being integral to the story that you wanted to tell?
Yeah, I think like just kind of going to like sort of basics of storytelling. I really enjoy writing, so I enjoy thinking about these things and how scripts work, what makes stories work, and obviously one thing to think about is having oppositions and conflicts. So yeah, the idea was in the script that you had two characters that were having to go through this event together, this task, but they were two very different people, and for that reason there was tension, conflict. So yeah, I think it was kind of mainly for a storytelling reason, to make the story engaging and to tell it in an effective way. But yeah, also I think the three boys, Liam, all of them are kind of reflections on myself and my own male relationships.
And the character Reese, although largely absent in the film, he has a very strong presence throughout. How did you think about the way that we come to know who he is as a character?
Yeah, similarly as to like I'd imagined and kind of written Connor and Reese as being quite similar people, and for that reason they're both struggling in a similar way. Whereas Liam is kind of different to that, is distant from that, because he's kind of more comfortable with his masculinity, I guess. But yeah, I think Reese is interesting because you only see him for such a short period of time, just in the first scene. But yeah, I wanted his presence to be very much a part throughout the film. So yeah, I guess that's kind of what I wanted with his character, is to have this presence, even though we weren't actually going to see much of him. But yeah, and then just kind of a similar character, Connor, in that he's putting on this tough facade, whereas as we come to learn, everything behind closed doors is kind of falling apart for him.
Much of the power of the film comes through silences and gestures rather than dialogue. What was your approach in shaping those performances?
Again, because I wrote this at the end of uni, so kind of the things that I learned in uni in regards to screenwriting were still very fresh in my head. And one thing that I learned and like kind of really took on board was the idea to never like as much as possible try to explain things with images and not with dialogue. So I always I say always, I've only written 2 scripts, but when I do, I try to do things with as little dialogue as possible. If I can avoid dialogue, I will. So yeah, that was kind of it. And then also I guess just touching on my male relationships again. And I think, yeah, men in general often don't speak about their feelings, so everything's sort of unsaid. So yeah, like one of the challenges was trying to do that without much dialogue, trying to explain things without much dialogue. But yeah, I think that was it. Yeah.
Reading your press notes, you mentioned being interested in blending documentary and realism. What is it about those elements that you find yourself being drawn to as a filmmaker?
I think I don't have the capacity, like imagination capacity, to kind of come up with things completely out of thin air. I know a lot of people can, and like I envy them because yeah, a lot of the things that inspire me come from the real world. So yeah, and so like that's also why I'm very much interested in improvisation and stuff. So a lot of the scenes were improvised, like especially the first scene was improvised. So like, and I guess also shooting things in a documentary style. But yeah, I've just always been interested in films that do that kind of blend the two together.
When you think about the audience for this film, who do you imagine watching it, and what do you hope that they would take away from it?
I hope all ages and all kinds, everyone could probably. I hope that everyone can watch the film. I guess if it was a particular sort of age bracket, it would be younger people, I guess. But yeah, again, I feel like I hope that anyone can relate to it, because even if you're quite a bit older, 60, 70, you've gone through that period of your life before. So yeah, and then I think coming away from it, I think I'd like to hope that it kind of raises awareness in some little way, makes a change in some little way, encourages people to talk more. And maybe make people reflect. Yeah.
Well, look, it's a really powerful and very thoughtful film. It's obviously tackling a tough subject matter, something that we are talking about a lot more these days, but probably still not enough. So yeah, it's really, really kind of courageous of you to make a film that important and that powerful. It's a fantastic movie, and we're really proud to have it as part of our festival. You mentioned you just come off of set. What are you working on at the moment? Do you have any new projects in the pipeline?
So my day job is a runner. So I've been running for about a year now. So I've just come away from Pinewood Studios. So yeah, I've been lucky enough to be pretty busy. Yeah, but I definitely am planning on making something. Just sort of struggling to find the time, as I know everyone else does. But 100%, I want to make another short soon. And yeah, really looking forward to kind of being creative again in that sort of personal way, because yeah, running I'm really enjoying, and it's a great way to learn, but also I'm very keen to make my own work again.
Brilliant. Well, thank you again for your time today and speaking with us so openly about your film. Again, we're really happy to have you as part of the festival. And yeah, we'll be in touch with you soon, I'm sure. But thank you so much again for speaking with us. You take care, and best of luck with your film on the circuit.
Thank you very much. It's an absolute honor to be on this festival. So thank you. It seems like a great one.